And here we are, Mr. Arthur. We are here for the first week of the new semester, the spring semester.
Yes.
It's kind of spring weather outside. A beautiful 65 and rainy.
Today was rather dreary.
It was dreary. It, rather, it was. Yes, it was. So, Mr. Arthur, we have a couple of just remember as we're going through this, not every kid that is listening to this has ever listened to this before.
Right.
And we'll get into that in a second when we're talking about, well, we'll get there in a second. We like to break this up kind of smoothly, even though I'm struggling moving everything around on my computer screen. But we like to structure this in segments. And the first segment is we like to call Where Is This? Because at the Talking to Us podcast, we're trying to cover the who, what, where, when, why of the Winfield FFA chapter. So the first thing that we're going to cover is Where Is This? And that's where we just talk about the week that was, the week that for your teachers and hopefully for your schoolwork is not over because you still have those Friday assignments like this one. So we are going to just get into it, Mr. Arthur. It's a new
Okay.
semester. We have you have most of the same kids back. I've changed one class. Um, so let's just talk about it. Any just overarching thoughts about the new semester?
A lot of our students, like I said, did come back, and I did lose several to sports and athletics and that kind of thing. It's been a rather quiet, I think, in the ag department, not having as many students. My first block last semester had 32, and I think I'm about 15 right now. So it's been a little quiet. Those guys are definitely missed, though. But I think we've started off on a good foot this semester. I think it's been a pretty excellent week. And in a minute, we'll talk about why. But, as ag teachers, this week for us is always special. But it's been a really good week.
It's the start of contest season. It's the start of a new semester. It's a lot of things that are starting, and I'm kind of spoiled, Mr. Arthur. I enjoyed all my classes in the fall, but these spring classes, there's something special, and I really, just getting into it. That horticulture class I have, plant science is a real passion of mine, and uh, I I think we have something special building in that horticulture class. We've done. I tried to give them just a wide variety of things that go into the industry and we're going to be covering in class. And so every day we kind of mixed it up. Just try not to do the same thing twice because I wanted them to kind of see what the whole semester is going to look like. And one day we went out and we just kind of planned, saw just what they're thinking about landscape planning when they're looking at the plants around a building or any kind of structure, and just all their initial thoughts, and kind of showed them what they're gonna learn when we're covering landscape design. And we went and looked at the structure that's going to become a green structure as we are renovating a part of the old department. And, they really seem fired up about that. I don't know how fired up they're going to be when it's 85 and we're taking down 10. I don't know, but at least their original thought is happiness, because Mr. Arthur, if it's me and you and June working on that by ourselves, I mean, we wouldn't be the happiest in the middle of working on it anyway. So, or at least I wouldn't. I know how much you love the heat, Mr. Arthur, and you
I
love,
love it.
yeah, oh yeah, love it. Can't have enough of it. Um, I try so hard. I can't rise above. That's not what I was trying to go for, Mr. Arthur. But anyway, the when we're talking about landscape design, we're talking about greenhouses. Today, Mr. Arthur, we mixed it up. I really wanted them to start on a good foot and know all the kind of technology that we're using in class, or the applications that we're using. So this week they've been taking notes on Google Slides, making sure they can change backgrounds and have pictures really easy. And I think that's a really fun way to do plant notes. As we're talking about different species, they can just add pictures from Google, and I think it really enriches their learning. But then today, I taught them how to use Google Sheets, Mr. Arthur.
Awesome.
So I was thinking at some point we're going to be working with, kind of shopping lists, like what you need to run either our operation here, or maybe they're just trying to work out a budget at home with, what they're getting for Christmas. Like, I don't know what, but, just basic how to do sums on Google Sheets. I thought that was a little way that I could plan for a future assignment and just give them that really bare bones thing. So overall, I thought it was a really fun week. Tried to mix it up and tried to just give them a little bit of Mr. Arthur, I'm crazy, and I just wanted them to see that. Really, I guess.
Definitely. Well, this week I thought some of our students were embarking on something that was completely new to them, and especially in your horticulture class, I'm sure you saw that quite a bit. But in my class, where we're working on a lot of animal science and food science stuff, those kids were just doing things that they've never really gotten into before or were unsure about. And so we took the week kind of slow, making sure the foundation was built. But next week, we're really going to put it in high gear and get into the meat of it. And I'm really excited about that. But this week, I thought our group in poultry and Ag 1 really picked up the ball and ran with it. And we had some great classes this week. And, it was a contest that Mr. Vines loved. And I was able to learn with him. And I grew to love that contest as well. And so this week, we you see, got my chicken back here. We talked about chicken parts. We talked about the process of chicks becoming pullets, becoming hens that produce for us, and that process and the amount of eggs that they produce and the molting process, all the way down to how do we judge this chicken in a class, and we really had an excellent foundational build. They learned all the parts of the chicken, they learned parts of the egg, and next week we're going to dive in headfirst into ready to cook birds and part ID of meat of chickens. And so I am very excited for that group. But we also have a lot going on with our milk quality and products, which is new to Winfield, livestock, dairy, and even I'm excited about it. It's not even in my room, but bed science also. So a lot of really, really good things going on in the animal and food science part of our CDs.
And we just have, like every ag department, but what we're talking about ours specifically, because our students don't care about other ag departments.
Or should they?
Well, yeah, you're right. And so I just really focusing on us, talking about the family here. We have so much going on. We tried really hard to, like you said, have so many options for them. And it's just really something special. And I can't wait, to see what we're, me and you've talked about. I think we're just going to check in every week with one of these. We have about somewhere around 5 weeks of actual school time.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to highlight 1 or 2 a week, and maybe we'll show pictures at some point.
Yeah.
We have some cool things happening, and we try not to plan too much of these episodes before we get into it, because kind of like just talking and reminiscing, and sometimes you'll say things that I had no idea that happened, and vice versa. But I think, Mr. Arthur, the way we talked about it, I think it's going to be really special to just check in, see what's happening, kind of check the temp of the ag department, and don't really want to get into anything really else, because we're just so busy this week, and nothing really stuck out crazy.
There was one thing that I don't think we've hit on enough, and if you want to add to this, please feel like you can. I didn't see any student this week who looked unhappy. And sometimes students are in classes and they just don't feel like this is for them. Every student this week was busy learning something new.
Yep.
And I hope that doesn't wear off, because As you get into these contests, you just get more and more information. And that's why I love them so much, is because they're different things, and you can study various areas of agriculture. And that's why we call it ag specialization, because they're really learning the ins and outs of that part of the agriculture industry. And so if there was a student this week who just didn't feel like that was their contest, come see us on Monday. And we'd like to find you one that is your contest. And after Monday, I think we're going to have to lock them in. But, we want you to be happy. It's 6 weeks of specializing in a certain area of agriculture. But this week, I didn't see anything like that. So I was really pleased with that. Everybody seemed like they wanted to be in the ag department, learning more. We even had some students from the main building coming down, various times during the day, because they just want to learn more. I was in fourth block today, and I looked up, and I have a junior in one of my side desks, and I said, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, I'm just studying dairy." But wow, that's awesome. He obviously didn't have anything better to do, but he was down here studying. So I was excited to see that.
Yeah, it's really, and that's what we've told like Ag 1 all year. Wait till spring. Wait till spring. You're going to see how fun and just there's something special about giving that opportunity to learn something, and you're going to become the best in the ag department at it. You're going to know something that outside of that group of 4 or 6 kids that's at your table, nobody else in the room other than me and you, and maybe the occasional junior or something that walks in, no one else is going to have a clue what you're talking about. And I always talk about with my classes, I'm like, or with our judging teams, I'm always like, hey, does anybody's mom not understand a clue of what you're learning in class right now? And because my parents loved me, supported me, all of those things. But I would go to forestry practice, they come out like, "What'd you do?" And I was like, "Well, I did this, it's so cool." And they were like, "I don't understand anything you're saying," And so it's really a special thing, and it's something that we've told them time and time again. This is what the community remembers about ag class. They remember the dairy cattle competition. They remember going to meets. They remember poultry. They remember these things because these memories last forever.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned something that your mom may not know you're studying in class or don't understand. But last night at church, I saw one of our parents to our students and said, "Well, how's it going? Is she enjoying it?" She said, "Oh, she went home and started digging eggs out of the chicken coop and sticking them over a light, identifying the inside of the chicken egg." And that's what it's all about. It's learning things you can apply in the real world, whether your parents understand it or not. It's really good stuff that you're going to use at some point during your life, or at least you're going to attain a skill that you're going to use at some point in your life. So I think this is very special. I'm very excited for the next 5 weeks.
Yep. So, Mr. Arthur, I think now we're going to transition into a middle kind of temporary segment. This isn't going to be every week. I think me and you are just going to kind of break down what we need from them when they're watching this tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. So every week we do these, and you're going to have a form that goes with this. And on that form tomorrow, it's going to be really heavy on your involvement. It's really going to be heavy on Mr. Arthur. Give us some examples of what we're looking for.
We're going to ask a series of questions that are reflective of your week, of your experience with your CDE, for example. We're going to want to know what CDE you're in. That's going to depend on how we use your information. But let's say that you're in the poultry CDE, you put that in. Maybe we'll ask a question like, give us a couple things you enjoyed this week. What's something that you didn't enjoy? Overall, tell us about your experience. It's going to be a little heavy on the writing side, but it's really going to be important on how the next 5 weeks go, because Mr. Riley and I are going to use every comment to make this experience better for you. And so we really want it to be reflective. We want you to be honest. You're not going to hurt our feelings. If there's something we need to change, we're more than happy to look at it and accommodate it. So I think we're probably going to have, Mr. Riley, 4 or 5 questions for him to answer.
Something like that.
With that. And so usually, for those of you who are new to this, I would ask you a couple of questions about ag during the video, and that would be the answers to your questions for your Google form. But this week is really going to be reflective of you. And so after watching the first half of this video, maybe you can have thought a little bit about the week, and then you can jot down those ideas for us.
Yeah, for sure. And like I gave horticulture, kind of a little bit of a tidbit of that. And Mr. Arthur, just before we move on, I'm just so happy because I asked them, "Are you looking forward to coming to this class every day?" And so many definitelys and yes, and I can't wait. And one of them was like, "I don't know much about plants, but I'm ready to learn about plants." And that's just it's that kind of stuff that we want to hear, but we also want to hear why you may not like it.
Yeah.
Uh, we are ag teachers. We're going to teach you a very ag centric, a very pro ag subject matter. Okay. But me and Mr. Arthur both crave constructive criticism in the form of we want to be the best ag teachers we can be for you. And different students need different things, and that's what me and Mr. Arthur learned in teacher school. Okay, we're supposed to do what's called differentiation. We're trying to reach, basically over the course of this year, 160 something students. We're trying to reach you all effectively. We're trying to give you and meet your individual needs. We can't do that if you don't take assignments like this seriously. And so help us be the best we can be. Give us the notes that you think would be beneficial for you.
Absolutely. And one thing you just said, talking about differentiated instruction, what has been really special, I think, is the fact that some of our older members have been helping teach our younger members. And whether that's in the form of a video that we're going to send out, or if that's in the form of in the classroom, that's really special. And I think that helps reach a variety of students that, maybe we can't explain it just right for them. And so if you think that would help you, we have somebody that you can consider a master in that area. We would love to hook you up with in class and you talk to, and maybe can have a breakthrough on whatever CDE you're working.
Mr. Arthur, can we get like a toll-free number and put it at the bottom of the screen? If you need help, call. If you need help with your CDE, please call the number below.
1-800-FFA-HELP.
And a young Connor Johnston will be there to answer your call. Oh man. So, Mr. Arthur, I think that really wraps up this segment. Do you have anything else to add before we go into the next one? Okay, I think this is going to be short-ish, Mr. Arthur. I'm talking about the podcast overall. I mean, the game isn't long. Mr. Arthur, it is time for what we like to call "What is this?" Because what is it? Yeah. So, Mr. Arthur, this is where I ask you a couple of questions that relate to music, and it's always music that I at least enjoy. For those of you that don't know, Mr. Arthur has the musical taste of a church turtle of the 1980s. What?
It's not always true.
Well, I mean, not sure. It's not always true, guys. I promise. But when I get Mr. Arthur to stop listening to slow jazz and operatic stylings of the 30s, I'm gonna let him listen to this. I think this is some great music. Always, I think it's good. But Mr. Arthur, this week we're talking about a rock band. It's not like a heavy rock band. I would consider them soft rock. But as always, guys, this quiz is brought to you by Wikipedia. Wikipedia this year is experiencing its 20th anniversary. So go Wikipedia, and remember to always check its references for real sources. So
are they asking for money at the top of the page?
Not yet, but it's coming. I think they're really letting you revel in the birthday celebration, and then they'll ask for your donation, acting like they're going to shut down tomorrow. But they haven't in 20 years, and I really don't know how many people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're also it said like 1 billion edits. They're celebrating 1 billion edits. That has to be on the low end.
Yeah, that's.
Or maybe I misread it. I don't know. Sometimes I don't pay attention to the things I don't want to. It's almost like I'm a teenager. I'm going to move on, Mr. Arthur, and go into the quiz.
Okay.
So, This is about Grizzly Bear. Not, but like the name of the band is Grizzly Bear, Mr. Arthur. And so Grizzly Bear is an American rock band. They were formed in 2002 when you were in what, kindergarten?
That's not important.
Okay, whatever. I,
Yes, I was in kindergarten.
I thought, yeah, I'm getting good at that. I was in fourth grade, I think. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. But anyway, they were formed in 2002. In which New York City borough? Okay. Now, of course, I have hints, Mr. Arthur, unless you want to blindly guess one of the five.
I'll blindly guess, but if I get it wrong, you got to give me
Okay.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, Mr. Arthur, you're no fun. Like I write these hints for a reason, Mr. Arthur. Gosh, you're supposed to say no.
Was it Brooklyn?
Yes, it was Brooklyn. Of course it was Brooklyn.
I almost said Manhattan.
It's music, of course it was Brooklyn. Brooklyn's the cool borough. Manhattan's stupid. Anyway, I'm giving you the hint anyway. Guys, if you didn't hear the answer, here's the hint. It is the most populous of the boroughs. Bet you couldn't guess it after that one. Also, it also had the alliterative bridegrooms at the turn of the 20th century playing baseball. They later changed their name to the Dodgers because they had to dodge trolleys to get to the stadium. See how good that was, Mr. Arthur? That's a beautiful hint. But no, it didn't matter because you're like, Brooklyn. Yay, Brooklyn. I wish you'd been like Staten Island. I'd been like, no, that's dumb. All right, so that was a buzzkill. I bet you don't get this.
Watch me.
All right. Well, you know what? The answer is a state. But before you guess, I have a question.
Nebraska.
Oh my gosh, not touching that one. For the third studio album, the group would convene at a house and they would solidify on the name Vecca Timist.
I don't know what you just said.
Exactly. Yeah.
English?
Vecca Timist.
Okay.
Yeah. It's well, anyway, it would be released in 2009, but it was named after a tiny uninhabited island that the band visited, and they were inspired by this island, and it was they really liked the name because it was a Native American name.
Yeah.
This uninhabited island is off the coast of which East Coast state? Would you like the hint, Mr. Arthur?
I think so.
Okay. I thought you were.
I've got an idea, but give me a hint.
You have an idea off that? When that, never mind. I don't want to know. Anyway, moving on. The hint. The state is officially known as a Commonwealth and is the most populous state in New England.
Massachusetts.
Absolutely.
That was my guess.
Would you have not? That was your guess?
Yeah.
Why?
It's got a little swing of islands off the end of it.
Yeah. And that was, I had to redact most of the quote and all that I read because it said Cape Cod like 7 times.
Yeah.
And almost made you guess Cape Cod, but it's not like, hey, what Cape is it? Like it's
Always Cod.
Oh, it's Cape Salmon. Yeah. No, it's not. So, all right, Mr. Arthur, that was the game for you. I'll make you listen to one of the songs later. I don't think you're gonna like it. Some weeks I'm like, he's gonna like this, and I want people to know that Mr. Arthur has been listening to Khalid after I gave him the quiz on Khalid. So you like it. I knew you would. It's very soulful and all. This one is not. This one's kind of a alternative style. So that's not your style for sure. Remember that song that I once made you listen to, and it's like real like doo-woppy, and you're like, "What is this garbage?" and turn it off. Well, that wasn't Grizzly Bear, but anyway. Anyway, Mr. Arthur, do you have any parting shots for the group? Do you have anything to say to the class, even though none of them are listening at this point. You can say what you want. Go ahead and pick your favorite student, Mr. Arthur, because no one's
Me and Harry Herford, it's been a real one. See you next week.
really. That's what you're gonna go with, acting like you're some cowboy. I'm Harry Herford.
This is Harry Herford. I'm Mr. Arthur.
Oh, okay. What's the hen behind you? What's her story?
This is Harriet the hen.
Someone seems really really lazy.
Harriet only has one side. See, and this is her internal organs. She has one foot. She has problems.
Put that two-faced hen away from me.
And this is Holly the Holstein.
Gosh, that's horrible. You could have went with Harrietta. You were on the whole thing.
No.
Henrietta, Harrietta, Harry, it's all. All right. Coming from the farm that Mr. Arthur is cultivating in the ag department, it's been real, guys. We'll see you next Monday. We're out.